reflecting on the past couple months, I was like, I feel like I've just gone through these few months of ministry and nothing crazy has happened. But as I look back, I was like, there's actually been quite a bit that has happened, and there's been a lot of relationships with kids, I think, that have really furthered and strengthened. And it's not like I have conversations about Jesus every day, but I've stayed in it with kids who just need someone to stay in it with them, and I've created spaces where other groups of kids can come together and be in community together and with me and them. So it's sweet. So I'm going to just talk about kids. I could talk about planning club or program or whatever else that I kind of also do on the side in terms of making Young Life continue to go. But it's really about kids. So there's a 7th grader named Caden, and he went to camp in the summer, 6th grade camp. Now he's in 7th grade, and he is so difficult. And he'll just yell and cuss you out and not listen to anything you say. But there was this one night where we were together. There was a couple other kids, specifically named Yang and Bam, of which I'll talk about in a minute. But Caden would not go home. Was just cussing and yelling and just all over the place. And he would not get in my car after we went to Wendy's. And so his grandma, who he lives with, ended up showing up. He wouldn't get in her car. He ended up running off into the night after he had threatened to, run away. And so we had to call the authorities. And later that night, he ended up fine. He was at home. He's safe. And since then, he hasn't, ran off or anything. But it was pretty nerve-wracking for me and kind of scary. I was like, never would have expected a 7th grader to actually, run off into the night, whether he was going to end up at home or not. But then just yesterday, he called me and was so excited and calm, actually, but excited about the fact that he's playing baseball. And we just talked for like 10 minutes about baseball and what else was happening. And I hadn't seen him for a week or two because it's my spring break. So it was awesome. And so there's these little glimpses of the fact that I stay in it with him that actually makes a difference through all the crap and the garbage and the grief that he even gives me directly. There's something about staying in it with him. And there's another kid named Bam, who I've talked about a little bit before, but Bam basically needs to be on meds, and he's not because his dad leaves him to self-medicate. He doesn't force him to take his meds, and it's kind of a bad situation there. And so he acts out in school and at Young Life, and when we're just hanging out individually, the dean of students at West Valley has no idea what to do anymore. They have to have him on a tight leash because he just causes chaos for everyone around him. Starts conflicts, makes up stories, just creates all sorts of stuff. Cusses out teachers, cusses out us as Young Life leaders. But then about a week or two ago, before club, he asked me to talk outside before club was going to start, and I was confused. I was like, what? He's going to say something ridiculous and stupid because he does this all the time. But then he asked me, Mike, I'm worried because I think I've done too many bad things to go to heaven. And how he was looking at who God was and God's love was way off, but I got to tell him about the unconditional love of God for him and what Jesus did and who Jesus thinks he is and the hope that there is in that. And his life didn't change. He didn't have this come to Jesus moment, but there's these little times that I can see in my relationship with Bam through all the crap, like with Caden, where there's glimpses of hope and where that the longer I stay in it with them, the better our conversations get, the more good things that happen. And so I would just beg you to keep praying with me for kids like Bam and Caden and a couple other kids that I hang out with a lot, Yang and Devin, who just live hard home lives and have a lot going on. So there's those 4 kids, and then there's another 4 kids that I hang out with a lot, named Tyler, who I've talked about a lot, Ethan, Spencer, and Kyle. They're all sophomores at West Valley. They all went to summer camp, had great experiences. They're all friends. They're all athletes together. They play at least 2 sports. 3 of them are in AP classes. The other one has a girlfriend. So they're like busy and popular and all over social media and all of that whole high school world that we've come to know. And a lot of it's hard to get time with them. And so these past couple months, actually, I've gotten more time with them than I usually do, which has been awesome for me because these are the kids who I feel like I can actually have an opportunity to walk with in the discipleship process and figure out what it means to follow Jesus together and facilitate community for them, not just like me and you one-on-one, but for all of them together, which is super cool. And so we watched camp videos that we never saw before. We hung out at my house and had lunch and talked about more serious things, and we watched March Madness together. That's happened like 3 or 4 times even in the last couple weeks. And so it's been really cool to get more time with them. And I pray that those times would continue to get more meaningful and more deep, and that they would start to maybe share with each other and figure out together what it means to follow Jesus. And so I'm praying for that regularly, and I would ask that maybe you would just pick one kid that you might pray for, of the 8 that I've mentioned, because that would be such a sweet thing to be part of.